challenge becomes oil is a commodity, right? So data becomes a commodity unless it has a functional use. And so I think we're in that place where we've got plenty of oil, right? We've got plenty of data. Um, we don't necessarily always have it where we need it to the people that need it when they need it. So thinking about how we use that in ways that are helpful to people.
How do you sell your services? How do you sell yourself? What are you?
Man, that's a great question. We have that conversation about 3 times a day. Because I think some of the stuff we're doing at Photofy is old, but it's also very new. We're thinking about marketing in a very different way, where we're trying to push it forward as close to the shopper as possible, and do that through the people most likely to touch them. So we're a distributed content creation platform, which means we're not making content that people, marketing has always been making content was made by the marketing department. Our belief is there's a new layer out there that you as a professor at Ohio State can become a very important part of the marketing process, which you're doing right now, by creating content about your field, supply chain, and distributing that to people who know you. It's not an Ohio State necessarily platform, but it is because you work there. We believe that you take an organization like Walmart that's got 2.5 million employees globally or something. If 3 or 4 people in each store are producing content, think about the volume, not only the volume of that content, but the connectivity that content has at a local level from a store in Ohio versus a store in North Carolina, which are very different right now. And also to your point, taking some of these insta trends that are going on, that may be happening in different parts of the country in different ways. We believe we can help people with that, with a very simple app-based content creation product that people's employees can use.
It's interesting for you to put this just a minute after you're saying that data in itself is a commodity.
Yeah.
Because if generating content, just generating content, and then of course creating value to the brand, because of that drives consumption, drives revenue, ultimately profits, right? But if you're talking about your side of the generation of content, you're doing the commodity portion. How do you do the extraction of the turning that commodity into gold?
Yeah, it's a very similar situation because there's too much content. We have there's a guy named Mark Schaefer that talks about this idea of content shock, and basically 1.5 years ago, we passed the point where we're producing more content every day than every human on the planet can consume. All right. So content is 100% a commodity, right? How do I make it relevant to you in a way that is temporal, way that's time-based, a way that is accessible? It's accessible to you in a place that you want to find content. I think about my daughter and her friends make an unlimited amount of content on TikTok, right? You are probably never going to consume it, right? And that's okay, because it doesn't matter, But what I would tell you, if you're a marketer, everything you want to know about what that is important to that group of consumers, they are telling you right now. And you could use that tool to find, to understand that, what's going on with that they're telling you, right? We've never had a time where we didn't have to go out and do focus groups and do all the things that we did, that the consumers just tell us, this is what I like. You could see things like White Claw blowing up because you could just watch. You could say, well, maybe seltzer is important. I don't know. It's an interesting time. And I think, yeah, it's just the supply of something is not necessarily the thing that wins. It's the ability to use and process it. So
Right. Well,
anyway, it's
but
great. I'm
the
sorry.
supply itself is actually it's very interesting because it is in itself it's not just a commodity, because just because of the fact that you're generating that thing that is unique, it is something that these voluntary and
Yes.
spontaneous generation of something that otherwise you wouldn't know that's of interest for people in itself is rich,
Yes.
because that's the way that people are expressing themselves.
Yeah. No, I totally agree, and I want to process. You've given me something great to think about. Is how do we process that in a way that's actionable to now the decisions we're going to make as supply chain and marketing uh, professionals responsible for getting, fulfilling needs, right? Fulfilling wants and desires. So it'd be interesting to think about.
Yeah, I think that I posed the question because I was thinking about our old days
Yeah,
when we had collective bias on one side and then we
yeah,
had data rank on the other side.
yeah,
So
exactly.
collective bias is generating content and data rank was processing that. And I was thinking, but when I don't get it. Why aren't you working together? You're literally, one cannot live without the other.
The one piece of data that we really enjoy about our platform, and again, we're too small to really leverage this yet, but I see this coming, is we inherently see what kinds of content people choose from the libraries that we give them
Uh-huh.
and where they share it. I think those are two super important pieces of information that aren't readily available because we may have 100 things for them to choose from, but they're choosing this set. So what does that say about the things that they're interested in and subsequently that their audiences are interested in? Because I think that tells you a lot about where to go. And then where do they share those things? And what I will tell you as a marketer that I find really interesting and really different today is the things that I believe that they're going to do, they never do, right? So it makes you feel pretty dumb as a marketer. But it's very empowering because I go, well, they're telling me, so I don't have to guess. I'll just give them more of the kinds of things that they are using. And then the networks at which people are sharing content, at least with our platform, are more than 50% dark networks or private networks. So they're networks that I can't even see as a marketer, right? So it's not a public Facebook or Instagram or something that I can. It's private. My Instagram story, which is private, only to my friends. Those kinds of things. So anyway, an interesting viewpoint from the data that we're now seeing.
Good. And one important job for supply chain management will be to be able to get your insights and bring that into the supply chain, because it's still,
Yeah, I
it's the
hope
kind
to
of
I hope to
information
do
that's
that
still
one day.
very restricted to marketing, and that's the key information that's needed for people in operations to plan where to deploy, what to deploy, and where to deploy at what time.
Maybe we should sit those people together in the future.
That's good.